3, 2, 1. Looks like we're live.
Finally.
Yeah, it's been a bumpy start here, but that's all right. So I am live here with Blake Carter. I'll give you just a second, Blake, to
Yep,
to
yep.
share that out if you'd like to.
You share this out here real quick. Uh,
And I can hear you pretty good on this side, so I think we're straight.
awesome.
All right, cool. So this is gonna be. I've been looking forward to this one, honestly.
I have as well on a. I was really hoping to be up here on Tuesday, and I apologize for having to reschedule that. You know how work
It's,
gets.
yeah, no, it's I get it. Ain't no big deal. I had some people ask me about it, and I was like, "Yeah, just tune in Thursday. We'll be." I had some comments and some messages asking when we're going to do this, and I was like, in a little bit." Blake brought in some goodies too. I
I
ain't gonna
sure did.
ruin the surprise quite yet, but I did get this cool bracelet. Let's see this thing. Let me just crumple it up all on the microphone. For those of you that are just listening and not watching, it's a super sweet, kind of like a Livestrong bracelet, you know.
Absolutely. Running that thin gold line for Fallen Dispatcher.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's sweet. Okay. And we got a whole slew of stuff that we're going to get into today. It's probably going to be kind of a. This will probably be the one of the more deeper podcasts I've done in a while. I did one with my dad. My dad had his right leg amputated, like up above his knee, and that one was. All my podcasts usually are kind of funny, and not not like super serious. But that one got a little serious. I know. Everyone's like, "How are you used to seeing this side of Brando?" And two, if you guys are watching and you want to comment on on here, you can. I have this set up now to where I should be able to see it all, and I can kind of interact with you guys a little bit better. Here more recently, I've changed. I say this every time because I can't ever get anything right apparently, but I changed the way this podcast works a lot. On now I got like the screen up here and a new computer, and I change everything, and then I wonder why the mics don't work half the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if y'all do decide to comment, I'll be able to read it. Did you get it all lined out on your end?
I got it all shared out on my end.
Nice. All right. Well, let's get going on this thing. So I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit and maybe talk a bit about you, who you
Yeah,
are, and why you're here.
absolutely. My name's Blake Carter. Um, June 22nd of last year, uh, I lost my youngest brother to suicide. He had been battling depression for a while. Back in high school, he dealt with bullying, the loss of our father, you know, just some rough life events, and it just really got him into a dark place. Uh, and unfortunately, he took his life on the 22nd of June. And the thing about him was, even though he was silently struggling himself, he was always that guy who was there for anyone. Uh, he made sure to let people know that he cared, that you mattered, and that's kind of like this bear here represents it. He wore these hoodies all the time that just said "You matter" across them,
Yeah.
and then on the sleeves, which it says on its feet here, it says "I feel weak, but I know I'm strong," and it said that on the sleeves.
Yeah.
It's just a suicide awareness, suicide prevention hoodie.
Uh-huh.
He wore that all the time, and talking to his coworkers and his friends, just that simple message on his shirt changed their days around countless times. Especially working in, as an emergency dispatcher, a medical dispatcher. His coworkers would get back from a rough call and, just be down on themselves and see that message spark conversation, and
Sure.
their days turn around. They're back
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
And after his loss, we decided we wanted to continue living like him, continue his advocacy, and so we started in his honor the Zachary Thomas Carter Foundation, and we actually filed for our incorporation and officially became incorporated on his birthday,
That's rad.
February 14th.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So now we're We're doing all the legal hoops, jumping in to get our 501c3 so we can officially be nonprofit.
Right. Yeah.
And then a branch off of that, you may have seen these floating around the community. These little butterflies here. My mom, my stepdad, some other family members have hand crocheted over 1,000 of these since the middle of June.
Yeah.
Our first goal was to have 500 made by his birthday, and we surpassed that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My mom texted me a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, I want to have 1,000 done by the anniversary of Zach's death."
Yeah.
Here we are 3 months ahead of the time.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And we hit 1,000.
Yeah.
And just what keeps us going with these and what tells us we're making a difference is seeing these comments we get on our webpage.
Yeah. Now, do you hand these out, or are these for sale, or?
We hand them out.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
We keep them in the car, run into a gas station, drop some on the counter, drop some on the shelves.
Yeah.
Run into Steak and Shake, leave one on the counter, leave one at the table.
Right.
It's best when you try and be like a super ninja.
Right. Yeah.
Just stick it somewhere.
Just snag that. Over the
we've gotten a couple of we've gotten them in where he used to work.
Oh,
and they're in the ambulances.
Now, and those of you that are just listening and not watching, it's a small crocheted butterfly, and it has a message with it. Are they all the same message?
They're all the same message.
Yeah. Okay. It says it at the top says Zach's Butterflies, and it says, "I am not lost. I'm just alone. If I made you smile, please take me home. This little crocheted butterfly is especially for you. It carries happy thoughts in case you feel blue. Sometimes life is hard, but your burdens we can share. You found me at the perfect time to show you that I care." And then it says, "Please go to zachsbutterflies.org to learn more," which I would assume is your.
That is the website for the butterflies. And in the process, I have the ztcfoundation.org. It's in the process under works.
Yeah.
Getting to the page here. Sure. Just kind of want to go over some of the stories that people have shared with us when they find them, because that's honestly makes our days.
You guys have like almost like a review.
Yeah, we have a little comment section.
Yeah. Okay.
Under it where people can go. They found it. They can leave a comment.
Yeah.
Saying, "Hey, I found this. This made my day. This happened." Or
man, that's fantastic.
The ones that really touch us are when we get the ones that say, "I've been in a deep spot myself, been battling thoughts, and this really turned my day around."
Yeah.
And made me realize life is not as bad.
Right. And I'm sure that just goes the longest way.
That goes the longest way. That's what touches us and keeps us going.
Yeah.
Is those little impacts that we know we're doing to people, to strangers.
Right, yeah, because it's working.
Yeah. And the community itself has been an outpouring of love. When Mom first came to me with this, saying she wanted to do this, we were just thinking Fountain County, Montgomery County.
Yeah.
We have them in 26 states.
No kidding.
And 3 countries, soon to be 3 countries.
No kidding. That's awesome. Yeah, that's got to feel good.
Actually, David Huckleberry here in Attica.
Yeah.
His daughters are overseas right now in England.
Yeah.
And we dropped some off at his place, and he sent them over with him.
Really?
So he got some over there.
Yeah.
And then one of his daughters met up with someone who was from South Korea, and she took some with her to South Korea.
Really?
And then we've got a lady who's reached out. They travel to Mexico pretty frequently.
Uh-huh.
She was going to translate the message and take some to Mexico with her.
That is really cool.
One of the doctors out of Crawfordsville, he just left on a trip to India and took a couple with him.
Really?
So I guess that's 4 countries.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So, and you guys should really be proud of that. It's really cool.
It's heartwarming.
Yeah.
To know that it's reached that big and it's making a big impact.
It is, yeah, and it's making a difference in somebody's life, like a major one,
And it just started with, reaching out to my aunts live in other states. Hey, if we send some of these to you, would you drop them in stores? And one of my aunts, she was kind of hesitant. She's like, "I don't really get out anymore since my husband's passed." Mm. And she sent us a message a couple weeks ago. "Hey, thank you guys for doing this. This gets me out and loving life again."
That's really good.
So it's just like, even the people who are passing them out, it's making a difference in their lives.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And So you guys are you guys from Crawfordsville then? Is that correct?
So I'm originally from Petersburg.
Okay.
I live in Crawfordsville myself right now,
Yeah.
but my mom and stepdad still live here in Fountain County in Petersburg. And then my middle brother actually lives just outside Nashville.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so you may so if you're listening to this in your local, you may actually see him. You'll see him around here, I'm sure.
yeah, you'll see them around here. They pop up a lot around Attica, Williamsport,
Yeah.
um, Crawfordsville, Petersburg, Lafayette. We've
Yeah.
got several people up in Lafayette. Got a couple up in Rensselaer.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, and Lindsay Carter said, Samantha Cooper, if you'd like us to send you some butterflies, yeah, please feel free to reach out to. Oh, you guys have like a Facebook page for
yeah,
this?
yeah, we've got a Facebook page
Yeah,
for
Zach's
the
Butterflies.
butterflies itself, and we got a Facebook page for the foundation itself.
Okay, great.
But yeah, just shoot us a message on their Facebook page there, and yeah, we'll definitely get some to you.
Yeah,
If you're local, we can meet up and give you some. If you're not, you know, we'll mail them to you.
that's awesome. Yeah. So, I guess kind of moving forward a little bit. I know you said that you had some statistics on this, and I'm very curious to see kind of where those fall because I haven't done a whole lot of research on this kind of topic. More recently, I made a video, and it was a very general video, but there's been some recent tragedies in this community. For those of you that are watching that may not be local, um, and it resulted in a child committing suicide, 14-year-old, I believe, and was due to bullying, and it was a I mean, it's tragic. It was, and it hit the community very, very hard. And I made a video about it, about bullying, and how when you're younger you don't understand the magnitude of some of your actions. And
Yeah,
I felt like it was important that maybe I would speak out because a lot of times I know younger kids, especially those in high school, will look up to me and they say, like I want to do kind of what you do, and I think that's fantastic. But I know also a lot of times too when something like this happens and they think it's cool to bully, kids around or whatever, and you bring in some type of outsider and they do like this big conference with a public speaker that nobody's ever met before. They don't, it's just a
absolutely.
general person. I figured maybe I could kind of bridge that gap a bit where, if they're looking up to me, at least I could tell them and maybe they could take that message and do something with it. But that was about the extent of, like I don't have any statistics. I don't know about the bullying situation, any of the schools nearby. I've been asked to go and speak at some of the schools, like at Attica and at Crawfordsville was one. And like, I don't even know if I'm the dude for that job. Like, I'm not smart enough for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I can
absolutely. I
go in
mean,
there and shake some kids around. Hey, what are you doing, dummy? Like,
but just putting that message out there is a great first step.
yeah,
Letting people know, hey, there is an issue, and I need some help getting some answers or helping people out.
right.
And I'm glad that was a good message that gave us a reason to connect
Yeah,
and meet up.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. So yeah, I guess moving forward, it sounds to me like you know about this stuff, and so you need to be the guy that like I need to tell these kids what you know. So I guess moving forward, where do we start with this? What do you think on this whole thing?
Absolutely. So I do have a few statistics here. They're coming off of from 2021.
Okay,
That's the most recent data that's out there right now.
sure.
So in 2021, half of all Americans experiencing major discrete only half of Americans that were experiencing major depression
Hmm.
received treatment. That's a big issue right now. Is just trying to find treatment.
Yep.
After losing Zach, we struggled for months trying to find some place where we could go just for our grief.
Right.
We were getting into dark places and we just needed to talk. And
And what's the holdup there? Oh, is it like a waiting
it's a
period?
wait.
Yeah.
I mean, we reached out to 6, 8 different counselors, therapists. A couple were 6, 8 months. Others were 18 months to 2 years, and the rest just didn't call back.
That is insane. It just
And even with insurance, the price of it out of pocket is ridiculous. My brother that lives outside of Nashville, he works for a good sized corporation, probably 500.
Okay.
And for them to get into a grief counseling or see a therapist to go over the issues, go over the loss, it was like $170 per person. So for him and his wife, it would be $340 per session.
Damn.
$340 a week.
Right.
For them both to go see someone with insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and what did you do to combat that?
Thankfully, we were able to find a local resource. And this is actually beneficial to anyone who's really been touched by, or who's really feeling hurt by the recent loss in the community. Out of Crawfordsville, Cheryl Furman runs Dusk to Dawn bereavement services. And she specializes in suicide loss, helping the survivors, deal with their loss. Yeah. And, we just went through a 14-week course with her, and it was fabulous. Fantastic.
Yeah.
It really helped not get over, but manage my grief.
Right.
And do something with it.
Yeah. And so does that really combat the price of is it, I wouldn't say, I don't want to say is it like cheaper, but I mean, is it more affordable? Like can you get in there?
Dusk to Dawn is fully nonprofit. It is paid for by sponsors.
Really? Yeah. So that's incredible.
They've got some big backers out of Montgomery and Fountain County that sponsor them and help them with their day-to-day expenses to put these courses on to help people.
And this is a once-a-week program?
This is however fits your schedule.
Really?
She's got probably 36 different course plans, depending on the situation, whether it was gun and overdose, pills, or if it was a brother, a sister, a son, sibling, father, mother, friend, depending on the situation, your relationship, if religious, non-religious, she'll guide. She's got a plan for you.
And that's incredible. So it sounds like that if there's somebody out there that has lost somebody, it doesn't sound like there's any, any problem there. Like, there's no downfall to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, and if she does get to hear this, which, she might, thank you for doing this. And I hope that you and your cause meet as many good people as you can.
I hope. Yeah. She's touched many lives.
Yeah.
They're doing like weekly sessions. So like I hit one up, which was writing.
Yeah.
And it's not focused on your grief. It's just getting you journaling, getting you writing, giving you topics to write on, so that when you go home to journal or to write or whatever it be, you've got a place. You know how to start. You know how to get going. They're doing painting classes or art classes. Last week they did QPR training for free.
Yeah.
Which we'll get a little bit into that on down later in the podcast here. They do wonders for the community with their services, and it's just not known.
Yeah.
But getting more people like them, getting more organizations like them out in the world is a good starting point.
Absolutely. And making their name known.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
So rolling off that of, the amount of Americans receiving treatment, of those that did receive treatment, 85 to 90% of them were successful.
Really?
Which does prove, that when you can get help,
it works.
It works.
Yeah.
It works. It's just getting that help.
Right.
And so it's estimated that 250,000 become suicide survivors, which is about 10% of Americans. So one out of every 10 people. So you run into a store, you get in a gathering of 10 people. there's at least one of you who is a suicide survivor, has lost someone close to you, friend, family, relative, whatever, that has lost someone to suicide. And another, which actually kind of surprised me, that it was this high. Depression affects 25% of Americans over the age of 18.
Yeah, I'm not surprised on that. That's a very tragic thing right now.
So a quarter of the population suffers with depression.
Yeah. So now would the program that she's doing, would does it are there any programs that she has that maybe targets, just depression? Like, hey, if you're needing
Um,
help, is this somewhere to go?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest.
Yeah.
She is QPR trained by the NFS, National Foundation for Suicide Prevention, so NFSP.
Yeah.
And she does do a lot of outreach in the community and prevention wise, but I'm not sure how far she goes as well as counseling.
Yeah.
I think most of what she sticks to is grief related.
Yeah.
And that's carrying on from a similar life story as myself. She lost a aunt and uncle due to a murder suicide.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's a doozy. So, I guess for the people that are maybe looking for help, is that what your foundation is going to be targeting? Or
That
trying
is
to help?
where we're targeting.
Yeah.
So the current organizations like the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the National Council for Suicidology, those kind of things, the 988, Lifeline, they're there with these statistics and here's some resources to get you help. They're there for after someone's reached this, that far in the darkness.
Sure.
Our goal is to be that light that keeps shining when someone hits darkness. So we want to be there before they get to the point of darkness,
Right.
letting them know, hey, you're struggling right now. It's just temporary. It'll be okay. Let's go do something to get that off your mind. A lot of it stems from, relationships, work, bullying. We want to try and make it so that, teens, adolescents, adults see that they just need to get away for a day, get away for an hour,
Yeah.
go do something, get it off their mind.
Yep. And what kind of and I know this is kind of still early in your journey of this foundation, but is there anything that you're doing right now or that you have done or maybe some of your plans moving forward?
So right now, spreading these butterflies has kind of been our big operation to start with.
Right.
Spreading them out, getting those comments saying, hey, this really changed my life. This
Sure.
changed my day.
Yeah.
It's a message that someone, they can stick it on their fridge,
Yeah.
see it, and remember, there's still hope. Someone cares.
Yep. Yep. And moving forward, are you going to get into like any kind of do you think you'll do any type of groups or anything like that, or?
We hope to.
Yeah.
On down the line. I know currently we've been collecting bottle caps.
That's right. I remember you said that. Yeah.
And Crawfordsville Middle School, their A team, which is their community focused extracurricular activity or group.
Uh-huh.
They came through, and through those students from the middle school themselves, we got over 100 pounds of bottle caps.
And what were you doing with those?
So there's a company out of Evansville, Green Tree Plastics, ABC Plastics. It's the same company, but they run their business. They produce plastic lumber.
Oh,
Dimensional plastic lumber.
Uh-huh.
And one of their programs is bottle caps for benches. So you bring in X pounds of bottle caps, and $100 and you get a 4-foot bench.
Nice.
So, and they've got picnic tables. They've got 6-foot. They've got 8-foot benches. They've got them with or without backs.
Sure.
You can get dimensional lumber. You
Yeah.
can get parking stops, trash cans, stools, and so with the middle school community members, family members, all collecting bottle caps and donating them, and then CSI out of Crawfordsville
Yeah.
came through with probably about 300 pounds.
No kidding.
So we've currently got, I think, 15 or 16 50-gallon trash bags that have 50 pounds of bottle caps in them.
Man.
We've
And what a
got-
great way to bring the community together, too.
We've got about 600 pounds of bottle caps.
Yeah.
And now that we're officially incorporated, we have our EIN. We're ready to roll and get some benches made.
Yeah.
We've actually had the trophy shop out of Petersburg
Uh-huh.
pledge to sponsor plaques for them,
Oh, yeah.
so that we can put, in memory of or whatever. And our goal is to put an inspirational message on them,
Yeah.
and then put them around the community if we can,
Right. Right.
parks or wherever.
Yeah.
Um,
And man, I think that's really cool because I think, and when you mention the depression statistics of 25% of Americans dealing with depression, and I feel like that's probably where this, where it all starts, right?
absolutely.
And I've said this since kind of really day one of this podcast, but I feel like the best thing that I could possibly do is bring my community together. No matter how that is, whether it's this podcast or it's another podcast or it's some video or whatever, however, whether the Christmas thing for the kids, I just feel like that if I could bring the community together, I feel like somehow that will bring some light to somebody's day. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
And I feel like that maybe the depression would even start with people feeling left out or not having anywhere to go and no one to talk to or no one to look up to. And I feel like bringing the community together is really some of the best stuff that you can do.
Absolutely.
And so hearing that about the bottle caps, man, I think that's awesome. And you're fighting a tough battle to begin with anyways. And then on top of that, being in a much larger community like Crawfordsville or something like that,
Right.
you're not going to know everybody like in Attica. It's one thing that I love about this place that, like I know my neighbors really well.
Absolutely.
Like they're probably watching this right now. And so like, and when I'm out and about and like I'm at the store and people are like, hey, I seen your video that you did the other day. I think that's awesome. Or, hey, how was Hawaii? Like they know where I'm going. They know what I've done. And like, not even about me, but it's just good that I can interact with these people. And I know that the stuff that I'm doing is making a difference, or at least it's reaching these people.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's such an important thing. And I mean, don't get that twisted if you listen to this. It's not like I'm trying to be this, people say all the time, social media influencer. Look, I'm none of that. I'm just a regular dude that has a half-assed podcast at best. It's just, but like I really want to make a difference in the community. And I guess I'm trying to do it the best way that I can. And I love hearing other people that are trying to do the same thing. And it sounds like it's exactly what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Right now. So I applaud you for that.
Another good bringing the community together leads us into what's coming up in April with that block party here in Attica.
Yeah.
On the 22nd, I believe it was.
Yeah. So I've been working with Hillary a bit on that. And they'd moved the date. I think 22nd is the official date now. Okay. But I still don't know a whole lot about it. I think, now don't quote me on this. This is all, we're still working this whole
still
thing
the
out.
plan.
But
Yeah.
I think we're going to be downtown Attica as of right now. And I've been talking with Nate. I just had a meeting with him the other morning, and about how we can bring businesses together and have like some live music and or however we got to bring fun. I told Nate I thought that the best thing that we can do is just make it fun,
Make
right?
it fun.
Like
Absolutely.
the city council had me come in on a meeting. This had been years ago, but they told me they said, Brandon, we want to do a block party competition, and we want you to be a part of it. And I was so pumped about that. I told him, look, Go ahead and print my blue ribbon now, and you guys can take second all day. You can fight over that one. I'm gonna have the coolest block party ever. So I was telling Nate, like, dude, I had a horse lined up. We were gonna do horseback rides in the alley. We were gonna do a slip and slide down this road. I was gonna close down the road. We were gonna have hay bales. We had a stage set up out here. We are gonna have live music out here. Like, it was gonna be the real deal. We were gonna do a high dive. We were gonna put a pool out here in the middle of the road. Like, it was this. I'm not joking. Just put me down for first. Everybody else can take second. And I'm gonna bring the same energy to this block party.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you. Like,
Yep.
if you want to come out, I promise you, I will do everything I can to make it fun. I want everybody to show up, smile, laugh, have a good time, and I want them like 6 months from. Damn, remember that? Remember that block party?
Remember that block
that
party?
was pretty cool. That's what I'm wanting to do.
Have fun and leave knowing you matter. You care.
Yeah.
Someone cares about you. You're loved.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, we're all there. We're in this.
Yep.
And I know it's kind of. I feel like it's been oversaid now, but I still stand behind it. But, like, we're all in this together. And I think that's something important that should be taken seriously.
Yeah, I reached out to Hillary myself, and I look forward to working with her as well. We're definitely looking at being there. Just not quite sure what part we want to take, where we want to partake at, or what we want to do yet. But
Yeah.
we're definitely open for options, and
Yep.
we'll definitely try to be there.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know or haven't heard about this, essentially what it is that it's going to be a block party, and it's really going to be based upon bringing the community together and trying to give everybody just a good day and a good place to be. They're talking about some safe spots and that kind of thing. I talked to Nate briefly, and so we don't have, well, they probably do, but I don't have a real good handle on it. Exactly what all is going to be there, but I think they had mentioned too about having people there that maybe you could talk to if you're feeling down, or if you just maybe you need somebody to blow off some steam to or something like that. I think it's going to be one of those things, and like I said, I'll be there. I'm going to be trying to crack people up and making a fool of myself about the only thing I'm good at. But I do think it'll be a good time. I do think it's something that could really positively benefit the community. And I really hope to see everybody come out. And for sure, dates and times and all that stuff, I will have it on this Facebook page. If you're listening to this podcast, so you're not watching it live right now, it will be on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, as well as my business page. I'll try to keep up with that because I really want this to be a big thing.
It'll be shared on our pages as well.
Yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because I'd probably forgot that and they'd have killed me.
Yeah, and that's a perfect first step to go with getting the community involved and getting them all together. It's unfortunate that the events that happened had to happen to, get the community involved and focused and realize there's an issue, there's a problem going around.
It does. It's an absolute tragedy, and I'm a little bit mixed up on this, and I don't know what it's like to lose somebody that close to me. I really don't. But I can say this, that if I was to, when I think about it and I put myself in that position, the only thing I could really think on the way that I would react I would probably be angry, really. I would say, where were all you people, before this happened? Where was this energy at then?
Absolutely.
And to the parents, if you were watching this, I'm sorry that I was not there before. I was blindsided by all this. I wish I could have been there and helped out and done more prior. But moving forward, I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can to maybe help out and save the next one. I wish I could have been there before, but it just wasn't good enough. That's it. And so if that was me, I would feel very angry about that it took this for the community to get together. But moving forward, I am proud of the communities seeing them do this. I think it's a great first start, and I hope that moving forward that it's going to be a better community in everybody's lives, in those parents' lives, in the school systems, here where it's not real far away, but it's miles away. I hope that it just affects everybody in the best possible way that it can moving forward.
You want to kind of go on down, roll into some
Yeah.
facts on the suicide loss.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, suicide loss is the 11th leading cause of death in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah, the 11th. You know how many? There's about 2% of the population
Damn, that's insane. That's a
that
lot higher than I would have
that
thought.
dies by suicide.
Yeah.
There's about approximately 130 people commit suicide daily.
Damn.
That's roughly 11 at one every 11 minutes.
Oh God.
And for that vulnerable group, the 15 to 24-year-olds,
Yeah.
it's the third leading cause.
Really?
So it's that's the age group where we're really trying to focus our energy on,
Yeah.
because they really are. They're the vulnerable group. They're just getting into life,
Yep.
just getting into their struggles.
Just trying to get shit figured out.
Yeah, just trying to get stuff figured out, and that's when they get hit with it the most,
Yep.
and when they're struggling the most.
That's crazy too, because whenever I look at my analytics, like, and I could show you too, but whenever this podcast is done, and if you give it like a week or whatever, and you watch this, and it's usually across the board, it's pretty much with all my posts, and a lot of people don't know this. If once you get like so many people on Facebook, it changes. Like my Facebook is probably different than just the standard person, or like just the regular account. Mine actually has analytics, and it can show you male, female, I mean, down to like religious beliefs. Like Facebook snags a ton of your data.
Oh yeah.
And it shows it to other people, which is pretty uncomfortable, really. But if you look at it, a lot of it is males, and I want to say it's like, I think it's 13 or 14. It's a separate group, but it's somewhere in the 13 to 14 range, up to I think 26.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you look at the numbers, it's astronomically higher. It's like everybody's kind of down here, and it's like 10, 10, 10, 10, and then like the rest of them, is just crazy high. And so if you are one of those people, I hope you reach out to me. I really do.
And that, suicide deaths are higher in males.
Yeah.
When you look at a male, it's one every 13.7 minutes, and one every 14 minutes. So in the 40 minutes we've been on here, that's 2 male and a female.
Yeah, it's awful. Man, I can't believe that it's that
There's
high.
1 female about every 50 minutes.
Yeah, I can't believe it's that high. That is.
And then when you look at the attempts, for every 1 death, there's 25 attempts.
Jeez.
So in 2021, 1.2 million Americans attempted suicide.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
And for each female death, there's 4 male deaths. Like I said, it's one of the top causes of death in males.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that stems from, well, and then when you look at it, like the standard of life, you're the man of the house. You got to take care of your wife. You got to take care of your family. You got to take care of the kids.
Yep.
You got to take care of the house. You got to make sure bills are paid. You've got all that stress on you.
Yep.
And then there's the, stereotypical males don't show emotions. Males can't show emotions. Bullshit.
Right.
Share your emotions.
Yeah.
Go cry.
Talk about it.
Talk to someone.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Yep. I think that's
keeping that bottled up is where it leads to this.
Yeah, and I mean, I know what it's like to be stressed and be down and have a hard time, and man, I hope that if somebody is watching this, just take it from me. It's not hard being an open book. It's really not. I try to show, like I've dealt with anxiety and stuff for a long time, and I don't want to make this podcast about me, but just trying to maybe relate to some of you that may be watching this. I made a video. This has been like, I think probably 2017, maybe 2018, somewhere in there. Dude, I was having like a full blown panic attack, and I'm making the video. Like, I mean, I'm crying, and like, and I was just shaking really bad. Like, you're not alone, and I think just trying to figure out a way to express yourself to take some of that tension off of you is really important, and that's what I've tried to do, and it's helped, and I guess, like, I'm not perfect and I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you that that's helped me. Doing the podcast has helped, to be able to
Absolutely.
talk to people like you, open up about issues that I've had or that others have had, maybe that I could help with. Doing the vlogs and stuff. Um, I mean, I got a great group of friends that I talk to, and I keep my circle pretty tight, but the ones that I'm really close to, like, it's nothing. We talk about everything,
Yeah.
absolutely everything, and I think that's a good way to.
That is finding that close group of friends that you can talk to and just let everything out. No hard feelings.
Right.
You know, doesn't leave the room, doesn't leave the friend group.
Yeah.
Someone you can trust.
Right.
Uh, I saw Stacy's comment roll in there where she was surprised and she thought it would be female would be higher.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the attempts, there's actually 3 female attempts for each male attempt,
Damn.
and that comes down to method. 53% of all suicide deaths are by firearm.
Yeah. I'm not
So
surprised on
that's
that.
where the male number is higher, is
Yeah.
the availability.
Right. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. It's it's tragic, really, but
So there was school poll that was taken, and out of the 9 to 12-year-old range, 9% made at least one attempt, and 3% reported making multiple.
of what age group?
9 to 12-year-olds.
Oh my god. Does it say why? Like, do
No,
we have any information on that?
no information on that. We just know the percentage.
Man, I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. I know a lot of people are like a lot of people I've seen blaming the school systems and blaming parents and everyone just pointing fingers and that kind of thing. And I don't, I don't think that's the move. I don't think blaming anybody is the move. I think that just trying to figure out a way to help collectively as a community and as a group of friends to these children, I feel like is the right thing. I think trying to blame people is just it's looking backwards. You're
Yeah.
just and if I was grieving and dealing with this loss, it'd be a whole different ball game for me. But as an outsider looking in, I just can't see how that could help. And I hope that maybe we can do something. I hope that we could do more.
Yeah, well, I mean, they say every 1 in 5 persons above the age of 12 suffers with some sort of mental illness,
Yeah.
depression, anxiety,
Right.
schizophrenia,
Sure.
countless others.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of this draws from, is from the untreatable illnesses, mental health issues,
Yeah.
which takes us back to our previous statistic on treatment.
Right.
How many are underserved, and if they were able to be served, 95 or 85% success rate.
Right. And it seems like, man, you guys are really you're nailing you're hitting the nail on the head with yours. Like, you're doing
Absolutely.
exactly what seems to be that pitfall of, kind of where where everyone's missed. Like,
Right.
you know, they they can't get the help when they need it. It's already after the fact,
Yeah.
and where you guys could really kill it is, yeah, just
Being there before the
being,
fact.
yeah, like, and you guys would be, man, that's an amazing thing, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just
Because
try to share the love and tell everybody.
today's organizations are there for when you're thinking about it, you're considering it, you're planning it, or you've lost someone.
Right.
There's nothing there before.
Right.
Before someone reaches that point.
Yeah.
That's a big hole.
Right.
Um, and so, like, me losing my brother, being a they call a suicide survivor, which is kind of a sour term in my thoughts. So I mean, you've lost someone, right?
Right.
You know, just natural causes, cancer, whatever.
Yep.
You're not a cancer survivor.
Right.
You're a death survivor. You lost someone.
Yeah.
Why do we have a sour term to us?
Yeah, that is.
You know, losing someone to suicide is just as hard as losing someone to a car accident.
Right.
Or
That's
a
good
freak
point.
work accident.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know, you've got a relative who's dying of cancer or, you know, having heart issues or health issues or whatever. You have your time to say goodbye. You have your time for your last moment with them and, you know, make all your memories that you can.
Yeah.
When someone tragically dies of a car accident or suicide, it's gone.
Right.
You know, they say when you lose someone and you know it's coming, it takes about 3 years for you to officially get over your grieving process. When you lose someone tragically, a car accident, you know, something unexpected, it could take 15, 20, 25 years to officially, you know, get over that grieving process.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't ever truly get completely over it. But you
Sure.
get to a point where you're able to live a somewhat normal life.
Right. Yeah. That's. I mean. Yeah. I mean.
And, you know, for those who have been affected by it, that's so for each death, there's approximately 135 people that are affected by it. That's 7 million people annually
Jeez.
are affected by a suicide loss. They become a suicide survivor, as they term it.
Man, that's yeah. And
So one of every 60 Americans, 5.5 Americans, 5.4, yeah, 5.4 million Americans are suicide survivors, have lost someone of close relation to suicide,
well,
a family member.
I I think that you are doing exactly what needs to be done. From what you're telling me, this there's yeah, there's a big group of people that are probably in what seems to be the most vulnerable time of their life, and they're not getting the help that they need, or they don't have, you know, or maybe just don't know of any resources that can, help them through it. And
Absolutely.
man, moving forward, I truly hope that if you are one of these people that you reach out to him, or you can reach out to me, and I'll do the best I can. I get lost in the messages and sometimes, and I mean,
Absolutely.
I didn't even,
Absolutely.
I kind of bailed on it. I didn't even see yours until it was like a year later. I'm like, oh, I just seen it. I'm sorry, man. But it's. I wish I just want to do more, and if you are listening to this, reach out to him. Go to their website. Go. What was the new number you said that they?
988.
Yeah, 988. Because they changed it. It was
Yeah.
1-800. The Logic song.
Yep.
The 1-800
Yep.
number. So they changed it now.
They
It's
changed
just,
it because they have deemed it an emergency line.
Yeah.
So they wanted to shorten it to make it readily available. That is available text or phone call.
Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
In all 50 states.
That's awesome. So 988. And these are going to be the people that are going to be there that are trained to help too.
Absolutely.
And man, especially you guys. I really think it's fantastic what you're doing. And I can't wait to see what you guys do with it. I'm really excited about that.
So we want to kind of roll into helping,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in some training, one of the basic suicide prevention trainings that is out there, they call QPR gatekeeper training.
Uh-huh.
And the letters QPR stand for question, persuade, and refer. So if you think someone is thinking about suicide, assume you're the only one who will reach out to them.
Okay.
And we can kind of go over how you would go about that. So take them somewhere private. Don't talk to them in front of a group. Get them alone.
Sure.
Listen to them. Let them talk. Tell their story, how they're feeling. Listen to their emotions. Tell them that you truly care about them.
Yeah.
That you're there. You're willing to help them get help. You're willing to help them. Be blunt. Ask them directly if they are considering suicide. There's a stigma that if you mention it and ask someone, are you thinking about committing suicide, that it will push them further. It won't.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
It won't. And then, encourage them to seek treatment or to contact a doctor, a therapist, priest, coach, teacher, counselor, whatever.
Talk to somebody.
Talk to someone. But avoid debating the value of life, minimizing their problems or giving advice. So you don't give them advice. You don't try and make their issues seem like they're not, like they're less of what they're thinking. They're a big issue to them.
Oh boy, that's a good one. Because that's exactly what yeah, that's why I'm not that guy.
And you don't go, life's worth living because this, that. It's not to them at that point.
Yeah.
So if we want to kind of roll into this, Brandon, are you doing okay?
Oh, this is I got a role play.
Yeah,
okay,
it is. Yeah. Let's roll some role play.
Terrible. Doing terrible.
What's going on, man?
Life sucks. I just got fired from my job, and the bills are coming, and I'm too stressed out, and I can't deal with it.
I really hate to hear that, man. You need some help finding some work or anything. I can help you find a job, get you back up on your feet. What do you need? You need some help?
Gotta have, yeah, yep. I mean, I don't really. I'm sorry, man.
Let me ask you this, though. Let me be straight with you. Be straight with me. That's all I ask.
Yep.
Are you considering about harming yourself? Are you considering suicide?
And this is if they say yes. So yeah, I'm thinking about it.
So, would you let me help you? Let me help you get you help to continue on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to?
In the event that they say no.
In the event they say no.
Yeah.
Then.
No, I don't want no help.
You don't want any help?
Yeah.
Well, could you promise me this? Between now and the next time I see you, will you promise me that you'll at least send a text message to 988?
Oh, damn, that's good. Yeah, that's cool.
Promise me that.
I can do that.
You'll make no decisions on killing yourself until the next time I see you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. And I would assume that are there any kind of statistics on this? I'm sure because you said it's QPR. I mean, this has got to work, right?
I don't have any statistics straight on that, but
there's got to help, I would say.
In the training course, it is very helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
It does, just making the first contact.
Right.
Is what a lot of people need.
And man, I would just be such a terrible person about that. Like I guess that, obviously I don't have the training for it, but yeah, it's really surprising to hear that, you wouldn't tell them, hey, cheer up, life's good. You have all this stuff to live for. And like you said, it makes sense because to them, they're like, you don't think they thought about all that shit? They know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You get onto their level.
Yeah.
You take in their pain, you acknowledge it, you acknowledge how they're feeling,
yeah,
and you let them know that it is, it does suck.
Yeah.
It's a lot that's going on, and then you make a plan.
Yeah. And is there anybody that, other than that 988 number, is there anyone else that you know of, or maybe you guys will be this person, but when somebody is attempting to reach out for something like that do you know of anybody that's doing this QPR?
Anyone can be that first contact.
Yeah.
Whether it be parent, sibling, grandparent, your priest, your pastor, your rabbi, a teacher, a coach, guidance counselor.
Sure.
Your crazy neighbor.
Right.
Just talking to someone, just getting it out. Yeah.
And man, I think this is such a, I think it's such a valuable podcast because like this is the stuff too that a lot of people don't talk about, like what you said, where it's almost taboo to say it. You know, like, are you thinking about killing yourself? Because everyone always says
Absolutely.
like, you're not gonna do anything stupid, are you? Like that's what everybody always says.
That's a big no.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like you said, be blunt about it.
Mhm.
Let's talk about it. Call it what it is.
Yeah. And so you listen to their story, you let them know you care, and then you be blunt with them. You know, calmly, don't no judgment. You know, show understanding of their concerns.
Sure.
Why are they feeling like that? And then let them know that they matter to you. Their life matters to you. Brandon,
Right.
your life matters to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, just that one conversation, just the Q of QPR could save a life.
What's the term Q there again?
Question.
Question.
And so, like I said, when we first got on that topic, um, pretend you're the only one who cares. You're the only one who's going to reach out.
Right.
And so, if a person you're worried about is, or you think they are, take them serious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if you think they're joking around, take them serious, because it's nothing to be joking around about. And you know, if they are considering it, it's because they're experiencing a traumatic life event, a health crisis, or just may believe they can't be helped. That's where we get into this darkness. So if you just want to work with them and, you know, get them safely away from any lethal means, firearms, drugs, alcohol,
Sure.
and remind them that their suffering is only temporary. You know, you're in a dark place right now, but it's just temporary.
Yeah. You'll get another job, buddy.
You'll get another
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
We'll get you another job.
Right.
It's not you, it's we.
Yeah. Right.
We will get you a job.
Yeah.
We will do this. We will do Y. We will do X.
Yep. Man, that's good stuff. It really is. Also, too, and I you know I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but if you have maybe some questions about this, I feel like this would be a really good time too
Absolutely.
for them to ask somebody who knows about it. You know, because it's not me.
Absolutely.
But
And the QPR training, you know, you can go through, I can't remember the organization's name, but if you just search QPR gatekeeper training on Google, you know, $29, you can get your certification for it.
yeah,
You know, they actually give you a little certification, little handbook. Or there's lots of free events going on in the communities for it.
yeah,
You know,
that's a really good
they
idea.
do have in-person trainings. You know, where I was talking about Dusk to Dawn earlier, last week they did an in-person QPR training.
Oh, cool.
So I was unfortunately unable to make it, but my mom was able to attend.
Yeah,
And she said it went really well. You know, they got into that role play where they could actually act it out.
sure, sure. You have somebody better at it than me. Sorry about that. I'm not so good at the role play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you guys do have questions for him too, I think that it would be a really good, you know, it would be a good time
Yeah. So
for you maybe to directly help. Because like me, and I get, you know, like I always have a bunch of questions, and I mean, like, you know,
right.
it's nice to be able to have something in your mind and then give it directly and get a direct answer from you.
Absolutely. And when you're in that, you know, persuade and refer stage, you know, another little tidbit there is, you know, if you know they own firearms or something like that, hey, do you mind if I take these with me?
Yeah, that's
just to ensure you're going to be okay until the next time I see you.
yeah, yeah. That's a tough one, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's I've I've done that. I've had firearms here that were not mine, and boy, that's a hard one because you know it's ain't nobody taking my guns, you know, and
Absolutely.
until it's look, man, like I don't think it should be like a law or nothing like that, but
Yeah.
you know, I've done that, and I know how hard that is for both parties.
Absolutely.
It was hard for me.
Yeah.
Like, look, man, I don't want to be this guy, buddy, but ain't worth it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It just isn't.
You know, I care about you, and I want to make sure that you make it to our next meeting.
Right.
I'm going to keep this. Let me hold on to your gun for you.
Yep.
Let me, you know, hold on to this, hold on to that. You know.
Yeah.
You know, put them in a safe environment.
Sure.
If they're not willing to go somewhere right then and there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, another persuade. Hey, you mind if we just get on the phone with Lifeline? I'll call them for you. You can use my phone.
And that's 988. That's
the 988
life,
number.
Okay,
Lifeline.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we got another. Oh, nice. Somebody pinned in the thing.
Awesome.
In the comments. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're training right there.
Yeah. And I know there's another. We had someone reach out to us the other night. There's another training that's similar to QPR, but it's more of a statistical stance.
Uh-huh.
And they've reached out to offer. It's through a grant program through Fountain Warren County Health
nice.
Department.
Yeah.
I believe is where it was through. And they've reached out, wanting to see if we want to do some of the training. Oh, that one's a full day training.
Yeah. I wanted to. Did want to get into bullying, so I didn't want to. Well, I don't want to cut you short on the QPR thing.
Hey, go ahead.
But I guess I didn't want to miss this. So the one thing that I'm curious about is when you have somebody that's going through this whole thing, and I wanted to touch directly on this, but you have them saying, I'm getting bullied at school, and I can't, and now this, we'll say that you've went to them or they've come to you,
right.
and you're talking to this person, and they're getting bullied at school, bullied every day, and they don't have a firearm,
Mm-hmm.
it's a child. So is there anything that this QPR training can help in that circumstance? Is there any instance, something we can do?
Like when it comes to like a youth getting bullied.
Right.
I mean, really that comes down to like, are you considering it? What are you considering doing?
Right.
And then talking to them, making a plan. That P is a persuade plan.
Okay.
Make a plan.
Yeah.
If you can't get something solid, at least make a plan.
Sure.
Get a promise. And, make a plan to talk with guidance counselor, principal, superintendent.
Sure.
We'll go talk to your parents, and together we'll go talk to the principal.
Yeah.
If the principal doesn't help, we'll go talk to the superintendent.
Yeah.
If that doesn't help, we'll go before the school board.
Yeah.
You just make that plan and you go.
And
when it comes to bullying, you just keep going.
Right.
If teacher doesn't do anything, vice principal or counselor.
Yeah.
If the counselor, vice president, or the vice principal doesn't do anything, principal.
Yeah.
Principal blows it over, superintendent.
Yep.
And what you could do when the superintendent doesn't care? Go over and say to the school board.
Yep. And like you said too, make them feel, or not even feel, but let them know that they are important.
Yeah. And that their concerns are real.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the two big main focuses is your concerns are real and you do matter.
Yeah.
I love you. I care for you.
Right. Yeah. Man. And not that I'm going to be good at any of this stuff, but, feel free. Reach out.
Absolutely.
To me, to anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah, because like you're saying, you do matter. Your opinion matters. Your thoughts matter. What you do throughout the day matters.
That's where we took Zach's sweatshirt that he wore all the time, and they also make the teddy bears. And this guy gives good hugs.
Yeah, yeah.
When I'm feeling down, sometimes I just hug him. I feel like I'm hugging my brother.
Yeah.
And it's from the same company that made the shirts. It's now You Matter University. And we took that and, I got a memorial hat. You matter. Yeah. We did like a limited run of them. We made about 50 of them, sold them for about $40 a piece.
Yeah.
We got a good deal on them, that helped jumpstart the foundation and get us, our starting money that we needed.
Sure.
And then, my brother, when I picture him, it's in his red You Matter hoodie and his white Crocs. Filled with Croc charms.
Yeah.
So for his funeral, my wife drew this little charm by hand.
Oh yeah.
And then, so it's got the wings, the little mental health suicide awareness ribbon and his name on it.
Yeah.
And this was a very last minute decision.
Uh-huh.
So I'd been staying at my mom's house, and I needed to run home to Crawfordsville, take care of the animals, our two hedgehogs,
Yeah. All right.
and grab some clothes and some stuff. And it was like 10 o'clock at night. 11, actually, it's probably 11. Heading back from Crawfordsville in 74, and it pops in my head. Hey, let's make croc charms.
Yeah.
This is Saturday night, his funeral's on Tuesday. Oh, it's Friday night, his funeral's on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So she drew that in the car on the way home. So basically from Waynetown to Petersburg.
Yeah.
She was able to draw that. And I called up his boss because I knew she had a Glowforge.
What's a Glowforge?
Glowforge, it's a laser cutter.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, hey, Kathy, can you cut little, quarter-size croc charms? We've got these little glue things coming from Amazon.
Yeah.
And we need about 200 of them. She's like, oh, yeah. Send me the picture. Told her what it was all. So we sent it to her, and she cut 200 little wooden charms out.
Really?
Okay. So now they're just a wooden block.
Yeah.
We wanted them like this. We wanted them colorful.
Right.
So myself, my wife, my brother, and his wife, Monday night,
Hand painting these things?
we're hand painting them with paint markers.
All right.
My wife wanted to do the ribbon herself, so she did all the ribbons.
Uh-huh.
My brother's wife, my sister-in-law, painted the wings and helped with some of the outline.
Really?
My brother and I assembled them.
That's rad.
We glued them together.
Yeah. Man, what a cool story.
And so we had croc charms, and we had some like lapel pins.
Sure.
And we had them, at the guest sign book so everyone could take one.
Yeah.
And, our thing was hashtag Crocs for Zach.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's this picture that my uncle got of my brother's wedding. He was taking pictures for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was big into photography and videography. And he's standing there, and I say, from neck to ankle, he is dressed up.
Uh-huh.
He's got a button-up collared white shirt,
Yeah.
slacks, dress socks, bright white Crocs filled with croc charms.
Sick. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Cool.
that was him.
Yeah.
And so there's just the amount of people who attended the services wearing Crocs. We got the minister who did the services to go out and buy a pair of Crocs, and they're his favorite shoe now.
Oh, really?
I had a pair that was given to me that was a little too small.
Uh-huh.
I gave them to my grandpa. They don't leave his feet anymore.
Yeah.
He wears them all over the place.
Loves the Crocs.
Loves the Crocs.
Yeah. I wish I would have met your brother. I don't think I ever got the chance to meet him.
I don't think so. But he had some big plans with Christian Webb, which I see him commenting there now. They were, Christian does a lot of historic photography, like the asylum in Rockville and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They were going to go out and they were going to hit some places up, and so Christian has made it so that Zach's dreams always come true, and he has one of his pins on his camera strap, so he's always there with him when he's getting his shots.
That's awesome, man. Good for you, Christian. That's really cool.
And then, being in, medical dispatcher, we made sure we got that thing gold line on there.
I seen that. Yeah, that's really cool.
So
I like that.
honoring him any and every way we can,
Sure.
and then just continuing his story,
Yeah.
making it our story.
Yep. Well, I just want to say before we've been on here for just over an hour, so before we jump off here, if there is anybody that needs any kind of help, if you're just in a low spot and you just want somebody to talk to, or if you are considering suicide, or if you are just having a tough time. It's just been a bad day at school, and you got some bullies picking on you or whatever.
Or just
Hit
need to vent.
just anything, yeah, man. Shoot me a message. Shoot him a message.
Shoot the page a message.
Call 988.
Text 988.
Yeah, text it. There are people that care about you, and there are ways for you to vent and maybe make things a bit easier for you throughout the day to day.
And one of the big things that stands out to us, which kind of comes from my wife, um, with when you get into the younger, teens, adolescents, they don't want their parents to know they're struggling, that they're considering suicide.
Sure.
So we're trying to come up with a way where, in the future, this is a goal for us, is they can go online to our website,
Oh, and
click I
anonymous.
need some help,
Yeah.
and Free will ship you a box with some resources.
Damn, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you guys do that.
That's a goal
Yeah.
that we want to see in the future.
Sure.
Is to be able to get those resources into people who need them.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah.
And that would be, just a blank white box, nothing on it, just a white box shows up at the door with the kid's name on it.
Yep.
Parents don't know.
Right. That would be awesome. I hope you get to do that. And if you read through the comments, Lindsay Carter right there, if you need a friend, I'm always here. And there's a lot of people that want to hear what you have to say. They want
Absolutely.
to be a part of your life, and they want to make sure that you're doing good.
And that's a good prevention to bullying, is just being that friend. Like you
Right.
said, you see someone's at the lunch table by themselves, go
Yeah.
sit with them.
Yeah. Yep.
I did that.
Yep.
And now I've got some good friends.
Yeah. Be the best friends you ever have.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. And
I may not keep in touch with them as much as I do. Sorry, Christian. But really
Yeah.
good friends.
yep. And it's like you could make that cool. Like when I said that
Absolutely.
in that video that I made, I meant that. For every day that you sit with them, especially if you're the cool kid, like if you're that cat, you know what I mean? And you see a kid that's sitting by himself. If you sit with that kid, I guarantee you by the end of the week there'll be 3 others right there beside you.
Absolutely.
Like you can make that cool, and you can make that kid cool, and you can change that kid's life, and he will in turn, or she will change your life as well. You'd be very surprised. And
Absolutely.
9 times out of 10, you guys have more in common than you think, or than you
Absolutely.
might know.
And that's where, my brother thrived, and where I'm trying to thrive is he made those connections and made those friend groups.
Sure.
He went to Vincent's for a little bit, and, hearing the stories of his friends is, it was him and his roommate, and then his roommate met this person, and then invited Zach, and then they met this person and this person and this person, and then they were just one big solid family.
Right. Right.
And it was just, they all held each other together.
Yeah.
They all had their struggles and everything, but they held each other together.
Yeah. It's such a good story. Like
And
I
supported
love
everyone.
hearing those stories.
And that's what society needs. That's what these schools need.
It is.
Everyone's cool.
Yeah.
You don't have a cool group. Everyone's cool.
Yep.
Everyone's your friend.
Yeah. And I just, man, I hope if there's somebody, I just hope you take me serious in this. Just go talk to them. Just see how things are going. Just be
Reach
nice. It's not hard.
Reach out. You don't know what they're dealing with. You don't know what they're struggling with.
Right.
They may be dealing with home issues. Parents are fighting. The parents got divorced.
Yep.
Brother or sister or sibling could be dealing with something that's affecting them. They had to put their dog down last night.
Yeah.
You don't know. Reach out. Talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
If they need help, get them help.
Yep.
Offer to help them. Whatever.
Yeah.
Be concerned. Be aware. Be vigilant. And together as a community, as a society, we can make a difference. We can help.
Yeah. And I'm in the works right now of another podcast coming up here, hopefully next week, but it's still up in the air a little bit, but it'll be a good one. It's gonna be touching on kind of a similar thing like we are right now. I don't want to give it away because it's kind of in the mix, but this isn't something that I want to just let go. You know, this is pretty near and dear to my heart, and I think that I think I can bring the right people on here that can really get the point across. And just like you did, you know, like you came prepared with, you know, like you have statistics and stuff. Like if there's if there's people that I can bring on here or people that you would like to hear from, you can feel free to tag them. You know, I'm not opposed to having anybody on here, but I do want to keep moving forward on this, and I want to bring as much light to this subject as I can. And I think that's a really good. Like I think what you're doing is a fantastic thing. Uh, you know, and again, you'll have to maybe whenever we're done on there, you can do it now, whatever. You'll have to put your Facebook page in the comments,
Yeah.
you know, and so moving forward, I want just to bring as much support and help to those who need it as I can, whether it's a guest that I may have come on here and talk, you know, about some hard to talk about points, or if it's somebody that you want to hear from that maybe you look up to and could maybe cheer you up a little bit, then I'll do that too. It doesn't matter. But as far as things are here, like this is, I feel like this is a must. Go like his Facebook page. Go, you know, send them messages if you need something, you know, or if there's something that they could do to help, or if, you know, just to be positive, tell them how much of a, you know, how much of an impact they've made on your life. And it'll go both ways, I think. But
Oh, I'm commenting as a page right now, so
fantastic. Yeah, I see
there
it.
we go.
Zach's yeah, perfect. That's all right.
There's both of them.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So go show him some love. And hopefully, here within the next few days, I'll have a little bit more information on this next podcast coming up. But it will be kind of in the same territory as long as things work out like I'm hoping they will.
I myself also have a couple projects myself are in the works. Um, so being so near and dear to my heart, I've got a book in the process
Oh, nice.
because trying to find resources in my situation, you know, my parents were divorced early on,
Mm.
you know, lost my dad in 2017. Um, you know, my stepdad was in the picture for has been in the picture for as long as I can remember, and he was basically a father figure for Zach. And before him was me or our uncle or our grandpa.
Yeah.
And being the oldest, being raised by just my mom, you can go and you can find resources all day for a younger sibling who's lost an older brother or an older sister who's lost a younger brother or sister. But there's nothing from an older brother losing a younger brother.
Mm.
And that kind of hurt that there wasn't anything that I could relate to. And so I'm trying to get my story into a book and get that published.
Yeah.
And then I'm also wanting to get something out there for men, for men's mental health.
Nice. Yeah.
Just so men know they don't have to keep it bottled up.
Sure. Absolutely. I hope those things work out really well for you. And I'd like to, there was one more thing I did want to look at on this real quick here before we jump off here. I'm sorry. Somebody asked if I would pin something. I seen it.
Was it that training?
I think, no, it was before that. Somebody asked about if I would pin a certain comment, but right here. Pin the comment.
The Dusted On Bereavement Services.
Oh, got
Right
it.
above it.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
That one right there.
Yep. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. So Dusted On Bereavement Services. Yeah. Go and like their page as well. You know, if you're needing some help, and this is after the fact, and you just don't have anyone that you feel like you can talk to, jump on them.
And I'll share the link to the QPR training
Oh, right.
coming
Right.
in right now. I don't know if I can stay on the right Facebook page this time.
Yeah, they get mixed up easy.
Oh, yes, I am. There's my wife there.
Yeah. All right. Perfect.
Throwing me under the bus.
Yeah.
I've decided to go back to school. You know, I kind of bounced around and never really finished anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just kind of got this feeling one night that I need to go back to school, and I started looking, and psychology classes just kept coming up.
Yeah, I seen that.
And so I'm enrolled for psychology with concentration of mental health.
Nice.
So I just want to be able to get more resources, more information, so that I can help
Sure.
lead the foundation in a direction that we want it to be.
That's awesome. I think that's really good. Yeah. So yeah, in the comments too, he just pinned the QPR training. So if you're looking for some type of training, feel free, jump on there, and maybe that can help you out as well. Um, and let's see. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So and then right above that, yeah, there's Zach's butterflies. He commented that on there, and then that's where you can get the butterflies, the magnets
That's
that
where the
they
butterflies
hand
are.
make those, and they have the nice notes and stuff, and you can pass them out. Sounds to me like they make a great difference in people's lives.
Yep. I
And
will be leaving some here with Brandon, so he can
yeah, I'll have some here.
share some around town or
Absolutely.
pass
Yep.
them out, whatever he wishes to do with them.
Yep. Yep. Not a problem at all. Awesome, man.
I
Well,
know. Well, Williamsport and Attica get hit pretty big. You know, we got a couple people who already have some up here, and
sure.
my mom working up here, they get hit pretty heavily. But
Yeah.
the more, the merrier.
Yeah. Well, Blake, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here, man.
I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely.
Let me share the story and
Yeah.
help the community in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll all be seeing me real soon, and I'm excited about this block party. It sounds like you'll see the both of us there.
Absolutely. I definitely hope to be there.
I'm gonna ride a horse there.
I'm holding you to that.
I'll show up on a horse.
You better be.
All right, man. Seriously though, thank you so much for coming on. And
Absolutely. Thank
everybody
you again
that's
for having me
watching, you know, if you can, please share this. It helps out tremendously. And there's links in the comments. You know, if you've missed some things, you know, you can go through and read some of those. But yeah, thank you again, man, and thank everybody for watching. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all very soon.